So, hello everyone. In this video, we will cover classification of silviculture system, right? So, like classification of silviculture system is very important for our understanding of silviculture system, as well as this is often a frequently asked question, right? So, firstly, like I'll write it here in a fresh slide. So, this topic is classification of silviculture system. Right. So, like there are a lot of classification actually, right? Just like in any other subject, there are a lot of. But if we pick up any standard books, like the most common authoritarian book, like authority on silviculture system is L.S. Khanna and A.N. Chaturvedi book, right? So in that book, and even in I think Manikandan and Prabhu, this is Manikandan and Prabhu book. So here they have given a very common classification, and this is the classification which we are going to follow, right? And it is also the most comprehensive uh, classification. So basically, the silviculture systems are they are primarily classified on the basis of mode of regeneration. This is an important keyword. They are classified on the basis of mode of regeneration, and those systems they are further classified on the basis of pattern of felling. And now I hope you understand what is pattern of felling. Pattern of felling is basically means pattern of cutting, right? This means cutting of trees. So basically, this is the classification system. So like just on the basis of method of regeneration, right? So in on the basis of method of regeneration, silviculture systems are they are classified uh, as high forest system, and you can say low forest system, right? Just to have that synergy. But instead of low forest system, the better word is the coppice system, right? So I hope you understand, right? High forest system. What is a high forest? This is also we have read this in classification. So high forest is any forest where regeneration is done by seedling origin, right? Regeneration is done by seedling origin, right? Like it could be artificial or natural, right? So it like this could be natural regeneration or artificial regeneration, right? So we discussed this earlier also. So it could be through any seeds, right? It could be maybe there is a forest, there is a mature tree, and the seeds keep falling, right? So there could be regeneration because of these seeds, right? Germination of these seeds, right? So this is one way. Another way is it could be even through plantation. We can bring a plant a small sapling from nursery and we can plant it. So although but that will be artificial regeneration. So mostly seedling origin, or it could also be obtained through vegetative propagation, right? And artificial regeneration is we have brought it we have brought it from nursery and we have planted the tree, right? Something like that. So the point is here, it is of seedling origin, right? And you understand low forest system are those forests or those trees which originate from coppice, right? So you understand what is coppice, right? We also saw this in the last class. So what is a coppice? Coppice is basically there is a there is a tree, like so this in some species, if there is a tree and if we cut the stump of this tree, right? Something like this, or in coppicing it is always good idea to cut it in an inclined manner, right? So that the rainfall does not accumulate there, and it the fungi and all those things don't happen, right? If you cut this tree, the stump which is left, we call it as stump, sometime, right? And from this stump, a lot of shoots will come up, right? A lot of shoots, small shoots will come up. It is called stump. It is also called a stool, right? This. So they will come up. So then, if the regeneration in this way, they are copies or the low forest system, right? So this is the most basic classification. Now these forests, they on the basis of pattern of felling, right? On the basis of pattern of felling, they are further divided into various types, right? So like just we will go through each of them. First is clear felling system. Second one is shelterwood system, and the third one is selection system. You should write this in your copy also, maybe in rough form. I'll give the notes, right? So this is clear felling. So these is the three most important terms in silviculture system. So these are the three basic system, right? Similarly, then on the basis of pattern of felling, right here I should write pattern of felling. On the basis of pattern of felling. So this classification is two bases. One is pattern of felling, another one is method of regeneration. So in this way, then this copy system, they also are divided into various, like they're this copy of this system, does the name differ. So one is, we call it simple copies. Another system is, we call it copies with standard, right? And third one is copies with reserves. Right? This is the base. Right? Like this is not comprehensive, uh, but like this is the base. So basically, this is handwritten notes, but we also have a, like this is the silviculture system, classification of silviculture system. So just have a look. This is the most important slide, right? So the silviculture system are divided into high forest system and coppice forest system. They are also called as low forest system. They are originated from coppice. These are originated from, like they are seedling origin, or you can also call, sometime it is written as seeding origin, right? So they are divided into three, right? Just remember these names for now: clear felling system, shelterwood system, and this is selection system. These are the three important keywords which for now we need to remember, right? And then there are some systems which does not fit in anywhere, so we call them accessory, right? Miscellaneous system. So there are some couple of examples, three example of those. So this is all high forest, right? These are all high forest system. And then this one copy system. So copy system has, some form. So like just to give you the conceptual under, conceptual reasons or conceptual context of how and how and why this system developed, is like it is all because of the purpose of plantation. See, all this forestry, mostly forestry, the science, forestry as a science, this developed in Europe. And even in forestry, most of the pioneering work was conducted in Germany, right? So somewhere around 1800s, 1800 AD, a lot of forestry, a lot of research, and a lot of experiments in forestry happened. So all right. So like before that, one thing I want to tell you that like I was talking yesterday that in this system, in this chapter, we will discuss about pattern of felling, right? So see, generally in today's world, in 2022, in the 21st century, like we generally don't cut the trees, or we don't generally see the trees to be cut a lot, right? So because we have this 1988 National Forest Policy, where we have declared that our forests, especially the state forests, the protected forests, they will be reserved only for ecological purpose. Right, before that we had 1952 forest policy. We have a lot of acts, and right, then the British were, before that the British were ruling our country, right? So forestry was mostly production forestry. Like throughout the history, forestry was developed so that we can exploit the forest, right? So that we can, cut the forest, we can use the forest, and like the trees are used in multiple industries. A lot of industries, like they are based on the forest products. Like for example, there is paper industry, there is furniture industry, there is construction industry, right? The fruits industry, the sports industry, the bats, the cricket bats, the stump, and a lot of things that are dependent on the trees, right? Even one of the most important industry which was based on wood was shipbuilding shipbuilding. And it was at that time, in like during the industrial revolution, or during this the ages of great discovery, when the Europe was coming out of Europe and exploring the world. So they needed huge trees for shipbuilding, right? So generally they like oak. There is a very famous tree, oak. It was used, right? They used to also import teak, right? So they were used immensely for shipbuilding, right? And shipbuilding was very basic to the survival. So because of that, a lot of interest developed in forestry. So see what happened. See what happened. Suppose we have planted a tree, or like tree is naturally, it naturally germinated. A seed is germinated. A plant, a seedling or a sapling comes up, and somehow it survives, and it is maintained, and it becomes into a mature tree, full-fledged mature tree, right? So I'm just giving an example of a tree. Like you can see the same thing happens in a forest, right? Forest is a is group of trees. So basically, this is mature. Now after some time, suppose we cut it, right? For whatever purpose, we cut the tree. We cut the tree, right? It is a full-grown tree. So if we cut the tree, uh, another thing is we also has to ensure sustainability. Like if we keep cutting the tree in unscientific manner, right? So these trees, they have a very long rotation period, right? Like we discussed that most of the trees, they live for more than 100 years, 150 years, right? Something like that, right? 50, 60 years. Even eucalyptus live for more than 20, 30, 40 years, right? So they have a very long rotation period. So if we cut them unscientifically, and if we don't regrow them, right, then our industries will be, they will be destroyed basically. So the same thing was happening there in Germany, right? So what they did was, like they try to develop some method, some basis on which the cutting has to be done, right? Or some pattern, basically, some pattern in which this cutting will be done, and regeneration, regrowing of tree will take place, right? So like what they did in Germany, like this was the scene. So they say that, like, how to do it, right? How to basically how to harvest trees. So they basically just copied what was happening in agriculture, right? So how do we harvest the crop in agriculture? How do we harvest the crop in agriculture? This is agriculture, right? So like this is the women is like basically harvesting it from her hand, right? Here we have, I think, thresher is there. Like here there is a harvester. There could be even tractor. Like a lot of mechanization has happened, but you can see that there was a lot of crop here. It just grew in few months, right? And what they did is they felled everything, right? They just started from one end and they felled everything, right? They started from here, it felled everything, and in some time everything will be felled. So this system, this pattern of felling in agriculture, now you can say that it is clear felling. Clear felling means you are felling everything, you are cutting everything, right? So this is which happens in agriculture. So they copied the same for forest, right? For trees, right? So like suppose this is a forest, right? I've taken all these images from Google, right? With due credit. So okay. So basically this is how they did, right? This is a huge land, like this is an aerial snapshot. So this is a huge land, like multiple hectares of land. So what they have done is they have cut all this area. You can see all this, these are cut. So basically, you can say this is clear felling system, and this is how they started doing. And now what they will do, they have just freshly cut this area. Now they will replant it, right? They will bring some, maybe they will sow some seeds here. or maybe they will do some plantation here, right? They will bring some plantation from nursery and they will plant it here, right? Whatever they want to do depending on their investment and all those things, right? So now they will regrow here, and with in few years, right, it will again become a forest. So this is the system they adopted, that clear felling system, right? So like in our exam, abhi I am just giving you a overview, right? When we will cover this system, then we'll do in detail, right? But you should have habit of making the diagram. So what we are doing, you can just draw a tree like this. There are trees in clear felling system, right? These are all trees, right? So this all area, it is cleaned, like it is clear cut. This is a technical term. It is clear cut in one way, and it is like clear felled. So this is clear felling system, right? So like this is all right for agriculture. In agriculture, like there is kharif crop. When do we grow kharif crop? We grow kharif crop, like we sow the crop sometime in maybe June, right? June, July, depending on the area, depending on the crop, right? In June, July, and we harvest it at the time of Diwali, right? Maybe sometime around October. So it is just 4 5 months of the time, and they cut it. But this forestry is a long term enterprise. The trees can take up to years, right? 10 years, 20 years. Some trees take even 30 to 40 years to become mature, right? So this is long term thing. So then they faced a lot of problem with this system, right? They faced a lot of problem with this system, especially in the areas which were difficult, right? For example, you see this picture, right? There are some trees, but this is all slopy, right? This is all slopy, and they have cut the tree from here, right? So what will happen? Even they will plant it, they will sow it. Firstly, the regeneration will be difficult, right? Because the water, whenever there is rainfall, the seeds might, just run away with the water. That is an issue. The another issue is with that, the soil, right? The soil, which is a very scarce and important resource, it will be exposed for a very long period of time, right? It will, because even if you plant small trees here, like they will take some time, like to become bigger and to grow their canopy, right? So until and unless they don't become very big, like, and the canopy closes, all this area, all this soil, all this area will be exposed, and exposed to soil erosion, right? It will be exposed to, wind erosion, soil erosion, and frost, pest attack, all those things. So this clear felling system, although it was very good for production, because you are able to get almost every tree, you're able to cut almost every tree from this, but it has a lot of ecological issues, right? So like they moved on, right? They moved on. So then there comes the second system, right? That is shelter wood system, right? These are all variation. We will take them up, but just for now, conceptually to understand this, right? So now they moved. What they started doing is that they started leaving some of the trees, right? They started leaving some of the trees. Like suppose this is clear felling system, right? So now what they started doing is, suppose this is a land of, like this is a patch of forest, right? And uh, like there are full grown trees, all right? So instead of clearly selling, what they are doing is that they are leaving few trees. Suppose there are, there are 1000 trees, right? So what they will do, they will cut 950 trees, but they will leave around 50 trees. Like I'm just giving an example. So they will leave few trees here, few trees here, like few trees here, and they will cut all other part, right? So what happened is that these trees will provide, and then after cutting, what we do regeneration. So like I'll use a different color. We have, planted small sapling here, right? For regeneration, right? Something like this. So what will happen, these big trees, we have left them, right? We have left them, but these big trees will give some kind of shelter. You understand what is the meaning of shelter? Shelter in Hindi, it means ashray, right? But here it basically means protection, right? These bigger trees, mature trees, they will give some protection to the small saplings, right? So basically, that is why we call it shelter wood system. All right. So basically, this is the thing. So what is its advantage? What is the advantage of this system over clear felling system? One is like I also forget to mention that in clear felling system, like when you will grow the new trees after cutting it, there is a lot of regeneration problem, because like I said, it is all open up, there are a lot, it is all open area, and we have small seedlings, so even the grazers, the browsers, like browsing animal, grazing animal, they can enter the field and they can destroy them, right? And apart from this, wind, soil erosion, rainfall, due to rainfall, all those things will happen. So here they will have some shelter against sunlight, right? They will also have some protection against rainfall, right? That is another thing. Another example, another benefit is that these shelter trees, or these trees which we have left, like they can also be able to give some seeds, right? They will, some seeds will flow, so there could be natural regeneration here, right, from the seeds. So our cost will be less, right? Planting trees involves cost basically. So in clear felling system, when we have felled the area completely, there was no seed bearers left, there was no seed bearers. These are all technical terms, but you all can understand what it means, right? So there are, all those trees are also cut, but here these can also act as seed bearers. They will, they will help in natural regeneration, so we will have to plant lesser trees, so it will be also cheaper, right? So this is how, like, it was developed. Like after that, some other systems were also developed, right? Some other system was also developed. Then there was, we'll see the slide. Selection system was developed, right? So like this is the picture of shelter wood system. So in clear felling, whatever white you are seeing, it is all, basically it is all uh, clear felt, right? Whatever white you are seeing, it is all cutted area, like all this we have cut, right? You can see this, right? These are all cut, and we have left some trees, like 40-50 trees. This is shelter, right? Shelter trees. So this is system is shelter wood system, right? So this, like in books or even in, you won't get such pictures. So such pictures gives you more clarity, right? They give you more, understanding of the subject. So in clear felling, see, this was the scene in clear felling, right? Everything was, cut, destroyed, cut here, and we will plant it. But here you have left some trees. This is the only difference between shelter wood and clear felling system, right? And then there is selection system. We'll take it up later, right? It's all right. Then not only this, there were other systems also formed, right? Like, there was multi-storied system. We will study all that. So like there is a forest, something like this. There are some bigger trees, right? Then there are some smaller trees also, like multiple canopy. So basically you can see there is, multiple multiple story means multiple canopy, right? So this is basically first layer of canopy, this is second layer of canopy, right? So they will cut this layer first, then they will cut this layer first, right? Something like that. So a lot of system developed, right? So like what happened was, this system was developed in Germany, right? So even in Germany, like the different parts of Germany, there is different parts of Germany have different side factors, right? Different soil condition, different slopes, right? Different needs, right? So basically, then this system was developed in other parts of Europe. This system was imported to India, imported to Burma, right? Other Southeast Asian countries, Africa, all those things, right? So on the, depending on the basis of local site conditions, right? Need, demand, right? What is demand in the market? Which industry is wanting which kind of a timber? How much are they wanting, right? What production do we need? On the basis of all those things, a lot of systems were developed, right? Even in clear felling system, there were, 2-3 modifications. The basis remained the same conceptually, but there were minor modifications. Then there was shelter wood system. In shelter wood system also there were many modification, 6-7 modification. Then developed selection system, silviculture system. right? Then it has some modification, something like that. Then coppice also has few modification, right? So I want you all to write the name of this modification. So and after that, that will be end of this basically classification video, and then we will begin up with clear filing system, and we'll take each and individually we'll take all the system, right? So I want you to write this in your copy. This classification diagram, right? So now you can focus, right? Now I think it will make more sense. So the silviculture system, they are divided into high forest and coppice forest. For now, for next couple of video lectures, what our focus will be on only high forest, right? And after we are done with high forest, this is just coppice is like more or less the same thing, right? So this is there, coppice is there. Now our focus is mostly this high forest system. This is four, right? Basically four examples. So one is clear felling system, shelter wood system, selection system, right? So there are these terms also. One is a system of concentrated regeneration, system of diffuse regeneration. So for now you leave it, right? We will discuss it when we are done with all the system. It will be very easy to understand, right? So for now you just make such diagram: silviculture system, high forest system. From high forest system there comes four systems, right? The first one is clear felling system, shelter wood system, and selection system, right? And then there is all those which could not fit here, accessory system, right? So what happened is, like, because of these variations in a lot of countries, in a lot of places, over 250 systems were developed, right? But now it become a very haphazard thing. When we, when we uh, assume something is science, we try to organize them. So they started organizing various systems into the silviculture system classification, right? So they fit into it, right? So in this clear filing system, the first variation is simple clear filing system. The second is the clear strip system, and then there is alternate strip system, right? So you write these three terms. What are they? Like, just make this small diagram in your copy before we end the session. So there is silviculture system, there is high forest, and there is coppice forest, right? So we'll write it later. अभी सिर्फ high forest में first is clear felling system, second is shelter wood system, third is selection system, right? So here there are a few modification. The first modification, or you can just say first is clear felling system, right? Under clear felling system, right? The second in clear felling system is, we call it strip system, or just write clear strip system. The third thing is alternate strip system. We'll see what it is, right? So this is the end of clear filling system. Shelter wood has a lot of modifications, right? So the most important, there are three which are most important, which are most commonly asked in examination. Almost every year UPSC asks them. First one is uniform system, uniform shelter wood system. The second one is, I think, group shelter wood system, and the third one is irregular shelter wood system. This is the most important and most frequently asked. There is इसी का एक variation है, Indian irregular shelter wood system. All right. Then there is selection system, that is here. So now again I'll come back to the slide so you can copy it from here. So you can see this is uniform shelter wood system, group system, right? And this is irregular shelter wood system and Indian irregular shelter wood system. These four are the most important, right? And then these are some tiny modification. These three, four. One is shelter wood strip system. One is wedge system. It is known as Eberhard's wedge system. There was a scientist or a forester whose name was Ebenard, right? All German people. And then there is Wagner's blender Schaumschlag system, again very simple, just a German modification, right? And then there is coupling. This is strip and group system together. So just write it in your copy, and will it will be pretty clear. So this is very important. Then there is selection system. Selection system has just one modification. One is like simple selection system, other one is group selection system, right? And then there are some systems which could not be fixed in any three of these, so they named it as accessory system, right? Miscellaneous system. So of that, the first is two-story silviculture system with high forest, right? Then high forest reserve system. So one is two-story simple system and one is reserve system, and then there is this improvement felling, right? So this is all high forest system. Similarly, we have Kopais forest. So here, instead of seeds origin, it is Kopais. The origin of the tree, origin of the forest is through Kopais, right? So again, there is simple. It has 6 7 variations here. What are those variations? First one is simple Kopai system, right? Simple Kopai is nothing but it is clear felling system itself, right? Clear felling system through Kopaiing, right? Then there is Kopai system with two rotation, Kopais with standard, Kopais with reserve, right? And then it is Kopai selection system. It is nothing but selection system itself. Just that here instead of seed we are using Kopais, right? Then there is Pollard system. This I think you have also done pollarding in silviculture. So the chapter one, right? So same, and then there is shelter wood Kopai system. So it is nothing but this simple shelter wood Kopai system. So these are the terms which we need to be familiar, and if we are able to like have some diagram, some understanding of each terms which are on your screen, your silviculture system will be done and dusted, and you will be ready for it, right? So I'll end this video here, and in the next video we will start with the most easiest system, that is clear felling system. All right, thank you.